like you lost another one.
What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another alternate universe What If. And this is going to be part 4 of What If Deku was a succubus. Or should I say male succubus, if you want to get talking. Now, I was reading the comics before I start this video. I was checking out my things and I was looking at the what ifs and stuff. And I have been also seeing some spicy stuff. So, this is going to be a spicy one, part 4. 18 only. Got to give out the wording. And I'm giving out a new update. So I might go and put a hold on this series, on the 18 only series, because I want to work on the other series that, doesn't have sex and stuff. But probably not. All depends on my situation. But I'm gonna make another video after this. Probably not. Depends on the situation. But yeah, let's just continue this. Let's just hop on the story. And sorry if you hear anything in the background. My goddamn sister's being loud. They don't know how to control their talking. But yeah, part 4. Let's get this started. So where we last left off, pretty much Deku pretty much making out with Bakugo, having that I'm sorry situation, and also getting captured by All For One and pretty much having sex, you could say, and nutting in the vagina that got her pregnant, and pretty much escaping that situation, heading to the thing, which we all know the whole hero versus villain arc, know how that happened. Pretty much how I'm talking about right now, but yeah, pretty much yeah. And also, All For One, female All For One, I should say, pretty much knocking at the door, and pretty much looking for Deku, saying that, referring about the child, and pretty much Inko finding out that Deku is the father. Now, let's continue the story. Now, Deku's pretty much going downstairs, all confused, saying what's going on. Running downstairs, pretty much asking what's going on. Until he says, shit. Until Inko says, what the hell is this? How do you have a child and not tell me about it? Which, she pretty much tells, All For One to come in and says, Miss, please come in. And come have a seat. Now, she's smiling, going to have her seat, pretty much sitting down, and Inko's pretty much offering her some tea, which she does, and she's pretty much sitting while Deku is pretty much getting scolded by her mom, by his mom, and she's pretty much saying, how can you have a child? And what I told you about, like, wearing protection stuff, and he says, you see, I don't have condoms on me all the time, and stuff happens, Mom. And plus, I got captured. She's the one who captured me. And, Inko's saying, what? She captured you? I don't believe. She's not believing this stuff. Which, this is where you get it, All Might comes in, and she pretty much, knocks on the door, and, as you guessed it, she's pregnant, saying, I came here to see my husband about a child. And this is where Inko runs up to Deku and pretty much knocks him on the head, saying, you got 2 women pregnant? Which Deku says, my fault, that's my fault. Basically just apologizing and laughing. This is where, All Might and All For One meet each other, but this is a different scenario because All For One wears a mask to cover up her face, to cover up her disguise, which All Might sees her all the time with only a mask. So they don't know that, they're rivals or enemies. you could say. So she's saying, "Oh, who's this?" And she says, "Yeah, Deku, who's this? Why is the number one hero here?" Which Deku says, "You see," and he just says, "This stuff happens," which he can't confront. Which all my which I can say Deku can control emotions and stuff, and also like jibber jabber, bamboozle them emotions. So they're not mad at him, but they're disappointed. But they still love him. So they're basically saying, all for one pretty much goes up to Deku, pretty much huggies him, saying, well, pretty much holding his hand and saying, well, are you going to are you going to introduce me to the other one then? Which Deku says, asks, well, and she pretty much says, we're gonna say all for one has a name, and we're just gonna call her Rachel, and she pretty much just says her name is Rachel, and this is her pretty much her man and husband, which Deku is pretty much trying to say something, say well, and off one said, well, you could say All Might comes in and pretty much says, no, he's my husband, and he pretty much says, ladies, please stop. I will marry both of y'all, okay? Which they both just, get the hard eyes to say, you really will? And which Deku says, yes, I will marry both of y'all. This is where this says, so you're going to take responsibility for getting them both pregnant? Which Deku says, yes, I take full responsibility of this. Which Inko is like proud, but also like still mad. But she says, okay. Which she says, well, everybody come eat. I already cooked some dinner and stuff. And everybody have their seat, and everybody has a seat and eat. Now the next day, come in. Deku pretty much wakes up from his bed, and we're gonna say he has a big bed, like a king size bed, because Deku. We're gonna say Deku may or may not knocked up a rich woman, a rich woman, or you could say, and pretty much is pretty much her pimp, you could say. And he pretty much wakes up by the side of the bed of pretty much All Might All for One beside him, pretty much lay beside him, and he pretty much gets up, doesn't want to wake him up, and just kisses both of them on the forehead, and pretty much heads off to school. Now we're gonna start with the whole villains attack thing. You could say I don't know the name of it. You can crucify me in the comments, guys. But pretty much before Deku pretty much heads on the heads on the bus heads on the bus with everybody else. This is where Midnight and Mid Lady pretty much grabs Deku to have a more conversation to ask like about the attack and stuff, and this is where the threesome happens. Now, if you're not 18, get out my kitchen because I'm about to get real spicy. Yeah, boy. All right, so this is about to get spicy in 3, 2, 1. Since they accidentally touched Deku, forgot to tell them not to touch him. Which, since they touched him, they get the full effect, and they pretty much drag him up to the wall. Midnight pretty much ripping Deku clothes ripping Deku clothes off. Pretty much, ripping his clothes off. Pretty much kissing him on the side of his neck. Which Mint Lady, well, you could say lady, pretty much you could say biting his ear, and also biting his nipple, making it sensitive for him to do a moan, which it's just get there a moan this real like a more higher, you could say higher than the roof, and they're pretty much all wet at the bottom, and they pretty much take off their clothes, and you could say they had a threesome. You could say, well, no, they actually had a threesome. And Deku pretty much had to get some new clothes. Well, he created some new clothes and put them on, which Midnight and Midlady is pretty much Midlady pretty much is on the pretty much we're gonna say they're pretty much in the office room, knocked out with a bunch of, you could say, cum on them, and Deku pretty much just put covers on them and just head to the bus thing. Now, if you're asking, are they pregnant? I don't know. Y'all decide. Psych, I'm joking. They're pregnant, but pretty much Deku hop on the bus and all the girls are pretty much trying to ask like when the wedding is going to happen and who's invited and stuff. And Deku's not answering them, pretty much telling them that he's trying to do his work and stuff. Which Bakugo pretty much comes in, giving him a noogie and saying like, "You nerd, you always be into your research." And he says that I always do. Now, this is where they head to the thing, and they're pretty much looking at the building. They're all excited, including Deku. And they go in, and they're pretty much see the superhero. I forgot the superhero name, but or the hero name. And this is where the attack happens, and everybody gets separated. Deku is the only one who dodged the portal thing, and everybody else get caught up. Actually, no, he doesn't. He get caught up with the portal, and he ends up with Froggy Girl. I'm just gonna call her Froggy Girl. Froggy Girl and Mineta, I believe so. And he actually falls on Froggy Girl, and he touches her boobs. This is where she feels the full effect of the thing, and she starts getting wet at the bottom. And she yells out, she pretty much says, Deku, you have your things on my, and he says, oh, sorry. This is where, she pretty much getting the blush and the hard eyes, and she's pretty much about to, hop on top of him until Deku says, well, we got company, and she says, oh, and she's pretty much holding her middle of her pants, but this is where, Deku says, I got an idea, and he pretty much grabs both of them, and he grabs Froggy Girl and puts her on the back. So and he holds her while he grabs Mineta by the side, and he pretty much launch up, and he does a big to short smash with let's say electricity. He combined it without knowing, and he pretty much shocked the water / tornado, make it a tsunami, you could say, which the villains get caught by getting electrocuted at the same time. And he lands on the ground, pretty much telling them to go help out the rest, which they agree and go help out the rest. This is where Deku goes to help out Razorhead, which Razorhead, you guessed it, pretty much getting whooped. After he whooped a couple of villains, but he's pretty much down on the ground with the Nomu pretty much holding him down. This is where shit, I forgot his name, but hold on. Alright, sorry. Had to find his name. But Tomari, pretty much, if I said his name right or wrong, say in a comment if I said it wrong. But pretty much he's have one of the other students, we're gonna say female Bakugo. She's pretty much down because she got cocky and is trying to like fight him. But she pretty much is captured, and he's right now slowly deteriorating her skin, and she's screaming in pain, which Razorhead can't do anything. He's just down, slowly, dying. This is where Deku sees everything and he freaks out. He lets out a bloody bloodlust, which Tomori is like saying, "Oh, it's you again." And he feels the moment he looks at Deku, he feels fear, and he starts screaming, and his eyes is bleeding out. And he says, "What did you do to me?" Which Deku just appears in front of him and just punch him right in his chest, just bodies him, shatter his whole rib cage, sending him flying to the wall. Which Miss is right now trying to say what the hell's what the they try to help out, trying to get Tomori out, which Tomori is saying, kill him. which the Nomu is about trying to catch Deku, which Deku pulls out a scythe randomly and slices the Nomu in 1,000 pieces, leaving the Nomu down to the ground, pretty much killing Nomu. And he pretty much but before the Nomu gets sliced in pieces, he pretty much taps the Nomu and it turns into like shreds. But he gets like the shock absorbs it, and the normal blood just start fading out and all that. And Deku have some of the blood on it. He pretty much throws it at the. You could say throw it at Tommy, and it hits his face, or it pretty much hits his mask. And he's pretty much coughing up blood, trying to get up from like that whole punch in his chest. A punch that shattered his own bone, and he's pretty much trying to get up. And this is where Deku pretty much walk up to Bakugo, hails her, saying, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yeah." And he walks up to Razorhead, pretty much heals him and asks if he's alright, and he says, "Yeah." This is where the mist comes in, and he pretty much grabs Tomori, and he pretty much teleports out of there. And this is where we're gonna say female All Might comes in, and she pretty much says, "I am here," and she sees that Deku is pretty much a little bit bruised, but she runs up and hugs him and asks if he's alright. And he says, "Yeah, I'm alright, but just check up if the other students is alright." And she said, "Alright," and she started going to go check up on everybody else. We switch over to Tomori, and he's pretty much down on the ground, coughing up a little bit more blood, and this is where Off One walks in and bitch slapping him and asks, what the hell did you just do? And he's pretty much saying, we was trying to attack the thing to pretty much kill All Might, which she pretty much gets mad and saying, you should have attacked when he wasn't there. And he says, "Who? My husband." And he's pretty much saying, "Who is your husband?" And she's pretty much saying Deku, and this is when he remembers remember who she was talking about, and he pretty much shits his pants and pees himself because he just remembered the whole body shot and the whole seeing the red eyes and the whole horns and the scythe and everything. So we switch right to Deku, and Deku's pretty much they're pretty much heading home, and they get about about 1 week of a vacation, so they can investigate what the hell just happened and stuff. And Deku's pretty much at home, in his room, trying to figure out what the hell that power he just used, and why was it so dark and effects and so powerful. And he pretty much is studying, and this is where two other women comes in, and it's Midnight and Midlady, and they pretty much come in and they pretty much talk about, and we're gonna say this is the last week of the thing, and they pretty much and Inko calls in and says, "Oh, Mizuku, come down," and he says, "Yes, Mom." And this is where she asks, "Can you explain to me why these two women claiming to be pregnant by you?" And he says, And this is going to be part 4 of What If Deku Was a Male Succubus. Sorry if it was short. My bad. But I'm trying to get things done here, and I have a lot to schedule to do. So sorry about it. Leave a like if you like it. Put comments down below. Join my Discord so you can put down your what ifs, and also talk to me and ask of what you want more on the videos so I can understand you and get more shit done. Sorry about that, but I'm just saying what I gotta say. But I'm Keishan Ochia. Thanks for watching, and peace out. What's up, guys? Keishan Ochia here, and this is back at you with another alternate dark universe. What if? And this is going to be part 2 due to y'all guys getting up to 30 likes of the last video, which I'm quite impressed that y'all actually did it because y'all enjoyed it. This is, well, what if Deku was the devil? Now, this is a 18 plus only, and let me give the introduction of the warning. Warning, this might contain blood, rape, gore, nudity, hazardous, and multiple things that's pretty much fucked up in the whole world that we decide to dodge, which I'm putting all in these videos of the dark universes. Only in dark universes you will get this dark stuff. Now, since you got the warning, let's get the quick recap. Where we last left off, pretty much Deku was born in the world by pretty much as a powerful, you could say, the new devil, due to Lucifer giving all his power to his son to hopefully have his dream to come true of ruling heaven and hell and the earth in between. Now, Deku was pretty much born in the world, as you could say, not as a normal baby, but pretty much not as a normal life, having only one friend due to kind of having the kids not like Deku with his horns and tail, which only Deku accept him and treat him as a good friend. Uh, they pretty much went on a camping trip, which, as you guessed in the part 1 video, it went terribly wrong, and let's just say teacher got raped and a lot of body parts went flying everywhere. But Deku pretty much killed the teacher, and he lost a best friend that day, and it was pretty much Bakugo, calling him a devil and looking at him as nothing more. Also, as we could say Deku went home, he pretty much had the Legion to come after him and pretty much worship him and pretty much blessed him as the new king of the world, you could say. But also as the new, you could say, Lucifer or devil, which also he also met a girl of a love interest, you could say, name is Alex, which later years to come to become living together, and also him doing her multiple times. And lastly, we can't miss the part where he bitch slapped Bakugo and pretty much, did with his mom to get back at him, and possibly got her pregnant, which is probably a definite, which we're gonna put that down. Write that down, kids. Write that down, people. He got Bakugo's mom pregnant. We're gonna work through this, but pretty much, yeah. And also doing his teacher, you could say. And that's pretty much a good recap. Now, let's get with the new original content. Oh, wait, one more thing. Can't forget about this. Also, killed the sludge and pretty much turned it to ashes. But that's pretty much it of the recap. Let's continue the story and with the new stuff. Now, we start off Deku pretty much waking up from his bed, and pretty much Alice is beside him, pretty much laying on him and saying 5 more minutes. And he says, I can't sleep for 5 more minutes, babe. Or you could say, babe, I have to get my training and learn to control this power. Or I could accidentally kill someone. Or you could say I already did, but brought back. And how he pretty much is talking about is, we're going to say this one time before the 2 weeks of training. Deku was pretty much at the grocery store and pretty much walking home past the church where this is the church of the holiness. We're going to say the holy deans, which this is a church where they worship, God and believe in all the, prophecies and stuff, and pretty much crazy. Now this is where, they got prophesied of a baby that will be born in this world to just cause all hell and chaos and stuff and cause the end of the world. And they're destined to kill this baby. which they are too late because Deku's pretty much, you could say, much older than the baby now. But Deku is pretty much is walking past that church, and this is where one of the assassins recognized that this is the boy of prophecy with the horns and tail, and she runs, or you could say runs with a dagger, and it's a nun, and this is Jane, you could say, let's call her that, and she runs and try to kill Deku. This is where Deku accidentally react and stab straight through her with a light blade, piercing her heart and pretty much in her. Deku pretty much says, "Oh shit," and pretty much drop the groceries and pretty much starts to heal her back and bring her back to life. She coughs up and blood to say, "What? Why are you healing me?" This is where he says, "I am so sorry. I didn't know you was coming right behind me. I just saw a knife and I thought you was trying to kill me. You was probably trying to do something else." Which Deku knows that she was trying to kill her, but he was just trying to switch the subject so she doesn't think about doing it again. She pretty much gets up and, well, pretty much trying to get up, and he says, "You gotta hold on. You really, took, really blow from me." This is where she pretty much explains herself and why she has to kill him, and the whole church pretty much spilling the whole beans, which she's not supposed to. But she has to spill the whole beans because, like like pretty much Deku has the power of all sins and the seven deadly sins too, which it's going to be later in the story. They will come up. Which this is where she pretty much spills the whole beans, can't lie to Deku, and he's pretty much saying, I see. But she says, "I can't kill you, but I will watch and see if you will destroy the world. But when the day comes and if you do that, I'm going to have to kill you." And he says, "Well, I'll be glad to see that because I like this earth too, and I wouldn't dare destroy it. Because I kind of like messing around with the humans and stuff and enjoying seeing crazy things happen." He gets up smiling and says, "Well, I'll be seeing you." And she says, "I'll be watching you." And he pretty much does a smirk and wink and says, "I hope you do watch me." And she blushes and says, not that way, you pervert," which he laughs and pretty much goes off, waving, with the groceries in his hand because he got them. Now, later at home, Deku is pretty much making a food meal with everybody and pretty much have his stuff packed and telling them that he's going to be going to the beach for 2 weeks to pretty much train and stay there and pretty much sleep and learn how to control his perks, well, his powers, and to really manipulate them and see what he can do and stuff. This is where the whole group and the legions pretty much is in the household, pretty much saying, okay, do you need any help? Do you want us to like stay and watch over you?" This is where Deku says, "Nah, like there's already enough like stuff happening, and plus I want y'all to keep an eye on this church and make sure they don't try to torture anyone or kill anyone because I think these people are bad news. I just have a feeling that they're going to try to hurt a lot of people and kill them just to try to say it's for the greater good, the enemy." Which this is where the legions are smiling and saying it will be in our honor with those crazy eyes, the crazy eyes staring at Deku, which Deku says, "Please don't do that," which they laugh and say, "Okay." This is where, well, we're going to say one of the new youngest member of the Legion comes in and says, uh, "Deku, can I come? Because I really want to get stronger." Which Deku smiles and says, "Sure." This is where Alex comes downstairs, pretty much saying she's about to go out. And he says, "Okay." And she runs and gives him a kiss on the lips and says, "Well, good luck on the beach thing." And pretty much goes out. Now, this is where Deku pretty much gets his stuff and starts going. Inko packed the whole meal for him so he won't, be hungry or anything. And she says, "Good luck and come home safe." And he says, "I will." Now, Deku pretty much heads to the beach, and we're going to say in that one half of the week, he is training his powers and learning how to manipulate them, how to control them, how to create things and start learning how to fly and all that. And he's learning that he can do a lot of things. Now, this is where pretty much a little girl comes in, and we're gonna say this girl had cancer, and Deku created this, you could say, holy mouse. Instead of this mouse gives you plague or kills you, this mouse heals you. Because we're gonna say Deku cut himself in. Instead of him, getting the automatic heal because he has regeneration, the mouse comes and hop on him and pretty much licks his wound and heals him. Which he says, huh, you're neat. Which this is where, the mouse grows a halo on his head. And he grows a little wings. And he says, huh, I'm gonna call you Halo Mouse. Or Mousy Flappy. And which the mouse looks at him with a little bit of a disgust, which Deku laughs and says, I'm joking, I'm just gonna call you Halo. Which the mouse likes. Now, this is where a little girl has cancer and she's pretty much walking on the beach coughing up a little blood. And she's pretty much sitting down and looking at Deku work, and she's pretty much saying, "Wow, you're really strong." And which Deku says, "Yeah, I am." And he asks, "What's the girl name?" And she says, "Her name is Charlene." Which she's pretty much, looking and smiling. Deku realizes that she's wearing a cap and asks, "What's up with her?" And she's pretty much, smiling and saying, "Well, I have cancer," and pretty much telling her whole thing, and that she's pretty much about to not be here on this earth soon. Deku thinks about it and pretty much, stops smiling and be a little sad and says, "You know, I have this pet mouse that I'm probably not going to take care of, which I'm not good with pets and stuff. Or am I? I don't know yet. But would you like to have it and take care of it?" Which she says, "Oh, I love mouse." And the mouse hops on top of her hand, or you could say lap, and starts to pretty much sleeps. And her hair starts to grow back in. She feels better, more energized, and she starts saying, "Wow, I like the mouse. That like this mouse feels more soft and comfortable and stuff." And she says, "Wow, thank you for letting me keep it." Which Deku says, "Anytime." And she starts to pretty much go and says, "Thank you, Mister. I never, I I I won't forget your name." Which Deku says, "Oh, don't worry about it." Now, this is where pretty much Deku, for like that 1 week, finishing up on the recycling, pretty much done. Well, pretty much not halfway done, but pretty much almost done with the beach. Now, this is where All Might comes in and pretty much is thinking about where he's gonna find a successor, and he sees Deku, and Deku is pretty much doing his 100 sit-ups. Actually, no, 200 sit-ups, 300 push-ups, and all that, and doing the extra hardcore weights, all that, create these big weights to train himself, to learn how to control his power and stuff. This is why All Might says, "Wow, kid, you're really strong there." And Deku says, "Yeah, I'm just trying to learn how to control my power." He's like, "Oh wait, it's you, All Might." And he says, "Wait a minute, it's you, that kid from the bridge." And they pretty much meet their encounter and start talking to each other. And Deku's, laughing with All Might and stuff, and All Might is pretty much saying, "You didn't have to kill that villain. I could have, arrested him and stuff, trying to talk to the kid, telling him that he can't, really kill and stuff like that, and killing is wrong and stuff." Which Deku says, and he pretty much says, "Listen, All Might, I know you're a good hero and the number one hero, symbol of peace, but you can't really convince me not to kill. Like, what? I don't like villains. I hate all of them. Honestly, I can kill all of them if I wanted to, but I don't. I think some of them can change. But really, that such villain, he was really trying to attack me and really trying to take off my body and kill me. But I killed him because it was self-defense, and plus, I just didn't like him. And that day," and he says, "What day?" He says, and Deku says, "Nothing, no day." And pretty much says, "Well, I'm gonna continue doing clean up the beach and work out and stuff." Which All Might says, "Well, I'm not going to pretty much stop you, but I'm going to change you into a better hero and not to be a killer, a, a, a killer to kill villains and stuff." Hey, Deku pretty much laughs hysterically crazy and pretty much says, "Huh, you're funny, All Might. You really think you're gonna stop me from doing what I want to do?" Which he says, "Yeah, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to make sure you'll be a better hero and be the next number one hero. Which this is where All Might pretty much takes out a piece of his hair and pretty much says, "Look up," and he's like, "What?" Which Deku pretty much falls for it because he thought All Might was trolling him something cool. Which All Might drops it, pretty much shoves a hair down Deku's throat. Which Deku says, "What the hell did you just do?" Which All Might says, "Well, I pretty much gave you my DNA, which you will have my quirk one for all, and you have to be my successor now." Which Deku says, "Damn it." Which All Might is pretty much explaining the whole thing and all that. And Deku saying, "Yeah, I already got it. Already, like the moment you gave me here, I saw through your memories and everything, and I realized that you have a scar." Which All Might is saying, "What? How do you know?" And he says, "Yeah, I seen through your past, and I realized that your teacher got killed by this one for all. Hmm. And you're preaching to me about not murdering. You was just trying to murder a villain. You just murdered a villain that that killed your teacher. Huh. Typical heroes." Making a little smirk about it, which All Might says, "That's not funny, kid." Which Deku says, "Whatever," and pretty much taps on All Might's pretty much wound and heals All Might completely, which All Might felt the full pain of the force, but pretty much got healed. Now, All Might is crying, saying, "You healed me. I was going around the world and no one could fix it," which Deku laughs and says, "Yeah, look like I'm not going to be a hero then." And pretty much is saying, "Look like I'm not going to be your successor," which All Might says, "Hold it right there, kid. You have my quirk and you're still going to be my successor. I'm going to train you and stuff," which Deku says, "Alright, whatever. This might be fun to be a hero and try not to kill or whatever." Which, for the rest of that week, for the rest of 2 weeks, Deku finished the beach and stuff and got training with All Might and learned the full cowling. And no, he's not gonna learn the full cowling, but he's gonna learn the pretty much 100% full to short smash and stuff, and he's gonna learn his full cowling in his own way, pretty much. Now, Deku pretty much is seeing the rest of the trash, and he says, what we're gonna do with it? What I'm gonna do with this?" Which All Might says, "Just leave it for the cleaners to come in. I already called them." Which Deku says, "Nah, I got this," and pretty much forms a little hole, a little black orb thing, and he throws it at the trash. And this is where Deku grabs All Might and says, "Back up a little bit," and he says, "Okay." And this is where the trash just gets a big boom, and gets absorbed in the black hole, and it disappears. Now the sand is covering, like filling up the holes, the big hole that was gashed in, and All Might is just jaw dropping, saying, "What did you just do, kid?" And Deku just says, "Oh, I just created a black hole vortex to just only eat the trash. I can control what it can eat and what it cannot be." And I said, and he says, and Deku went honest to All Might and says, "I'll be honest with you. If I wanted to make the black hole eat bigger, it could have just swallowed the whole Earth if it wanted to, and continue. But I love this Earth. I love watching the crazy stuff and how this Earth going to be. And hell, one day I'm gonna rule this Earth, do heaven and hell, and make it a better place for human race not to attack each other and stuff." Which All Might is terrified but somewhat smiling and saying, "I hope to make the Earth good." Which Deku gives him a smirk and says, "Yeah, I would. Yeah, I will." This is where Deku is pretty much saying, "I'm going to go to the UI, which All Might saying, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go there?" And pretty much Deku is smiling, saying, "Yeah, I'm going to, guess see what's like to be a hero and see if it's really worth it and stuff." Yeah, to see about to be a hero and stuff. This is where All Might says, look like you're going to be seeing me as one of your teachers." Which Deku says, "I hope not," laughing, which All Might laughs with him. And he says, "Well, I'm going to be going home now, and I hope I pass, I guess." Which All Might says, "I hope you do, kid." This is where the nun is spying on Deku, and he pretty much pretty much noticed that he can sense the nun girl pretty much looking at him, and he pretty much pulls down his pants and turns around and pretty much says, "Well, you like watching me?" And she pretty much gets a nosebleed and says, "Oh my god, like how did you know?" And he's pretty much saying, "I can tell when you're watching me." And she pretty much runs away, says, "I won't forget this. You pay for this." Pretty much like running off, which Deku laughs and pulls back up his pants, which All Might is saying, "Wow, kid, that was a really pervert thing." Which Deku just laughs his ass off, saying, "Oh, trust me, if I was really a pervert, I would have did something much more crazy." And he pretty much says, "Well, I'll be going All Might, packing his stuff and going off." This is where pretty much a group of kids comes up, and these kids are pretty much sick and stuff and homeless, and they're pretty much saying, "Please, sir, do you have any food?" And this is where Deku created food from his hands, well, from his two hands, and he pretty much gave it to the kids, and he gives the kids like $1 million, and he pretty much says, "Here you go, all this money is for y'all. Now, I know y'all, I can sense that y'all parents is not there no more, and y'all parents are dying, and y'all stick together. So use this money to get a house and stuff, and or at least to find a place to stay and stuff. And if you can't find a hit, if anything happens, you know where to find me. Here, this is my address and where you can find me." Which, where the kids say, "Okay, Mister, thank you," crying and running off, all happy and stuff. Now, Deku's pretty much walking, and this is where he sees his girl, Alex, and he says, "Oh, hey, what you doing?" And she says, "Oh, I'm just about to go to the store to get some groceries for your mom." And Deku says, "Okay, well, come back home safe," which she says, "Okay." This is where Bakugo's mom comes in, and Alice is long gone, but she comes in and she pretty much tongue kiss and pretty much grabbing Deku's, you could say, dick, and saying, "I miss you." And this is where Deku is pretty much saying, "Oh, I miss you too. Now what you doing here?" And she's pretty much saying, "I came here to find you because your mom said you wasn't home. I came out looking for you. Are you gonna come to my house later on?" Which Deku says, "Yeah, of course." And you could say little enough they, did it. Now Deku heads home. Pretty much at the sitting on well, sits on the living room couch, starts to lay down, pretty much saying, "Whew, I'm finished." And Inko's saying, "Are you ready for the thing tomorrow?" Which he says, "Yeah." And he says, "I'm gonna be sleeping on the couch until Alex comes home and wake me up." And she says, "Okay." And Deku pretty much goes to sleep. Now, later that night, Deku has a dream, and this dream is kind of not of a dream, and kind of is. He sees himself in hell, and hell is a much different place. It's a quite of a nice place, you could say. Uh, Not nice. It's kind of but not bad. It's not like those pictures you can imagine, but it's kind of like this weird Japanese Tokyo. It's kind of like My Hero Academia place, but it's like with buildings and stuff. But it's not been. It's just with demons and but humans get tortured there and stuff. Like, but they only get tortured by themselves. Like, no demons are torturing. Only demons. The demons just watch over them. And some demons do torture, but it's not. It's only for the worst of the kind of people. But for the people who like did like lie and stuff, they're just torturing themselves and kind of repeating the same loop until they realize that they're not in like they're in the loop and they just have to repent to not get tortured anymore. But the people who does repent and stuff, they pretty much turn into demons, or you could say hybrids of half human, half demon in hell. So Deku pretty much sees himself and sees the building. He says, "This is like my country, but not really." And this is where the seven deadly sins saying, "Ah," which probably comes in and say, "Ah, so it's the son of Lucifer, huh? Deku, we're Mizuka Midoriya. Am I correct? What are you doing here in hell?" Which Lust comes in and she's pretty much saying, I didn't know he was so handsome," pretty much going beside Deku you could say biting and licking his ear, which Deku says, "Ooh," and pretty much blushing a little bit. This is where you know envy and or you could say greed comes in and say holding the money in his hand saying 21, 22. Huh, what's he doing here? And Wrath is pretty much pissed off, pretty much knocks someone through a bar and saying, and Drake and Boo's and angry and pissed and saying, ah, oh, god damn it. And he says, oh, so now the sun comes here. And, Gluttony comes in and they're all just, talking and saying they're the seven deadly sins. And he's pretty much, they're pretty much, talking to Deku and explaining their duties and what they do in hell and stuff, and that they watch over hell itself since and was waiting for him to come so they can tell him that he has a lot of job to do in hell. Which Deku says, okay, well, let's get started now. Deku thinks he's dreaming, but he's but kinda not. And he started seeing all the paperwork. He was like, okay, well, let's get this done then. Deku pretty much is doing all the work and getting all the paperwork done, and he's pretty much, we're gonna say since he's dreaming, like he's only dreaming, he thinks he's in there for centuries and 1,000 years in hell, doing all the construction work and getting all the paperwork done and making hells better and stuff, or you could say making it a better place, fixing all the stuff and patrolling and getting getting his father castle back and ruling over. Now this is where Deku wakes up the next day and he's like saying, what? I was just. He was like, okay, well, whatever. And he gets dressed, and Alice just pretty much kisses him and says good luck on his exam, which Deku says he will, and pretty much heads off. Now, if you're thinking he's wearing the whole UA outfit to go there, it's kind of not. He's kind of wearing you could say the UA outfit, but he's wearing a jacket of a UA outfit and with a hoodie. And he also has a suit, so it's like that cool crime boss suit, but wearing a jacket with a suit, kind of, you could say a vest with a tie, and then also just have like a jacket, cool. And he also wears cool jeans and the kickbox boots. Yeah, cool boots. You could say like Dante boots, but like much cooler. Now Deku's pretty much heading there, and he's pretty much looking and saying, "Huh, so this is the place I'm gonna go to. Okay, well, I guess." This is where he trips and he's about to, do some cool acrobatics to catch himself, but this is where he realizes he's floating and he's like saying, huh, this is odd. And this is where Uraka comes in and says, oh my god, are you okay? Uh, like, I didn't mean to, you was about to float. And Deku pretty much picks his, like, pretty much lands in, pats himself and he pretty much grabs her hand and kisses it and says, oh, it's okay. My name is Deku. Uzuka Midoriya. You could you could call me that. And she pretty much blushes and says, oh, okay, my name is Uraka and they pretty much, do stuff and he pretty much says, well, I gotta go now. See ya. And she says see ya, having a little bit of a liking to Deku. Now this is where Deku heads in the building and he sees Baku and he says, ah, Kashan, and pretty much runs up to him and pretty much says, ah, I thought you wouldn't come. And he says, I thought you wouldn't come, you devil. Which he pretty much laughs and says, oh, you, always trying to act like you're not going to be friends with me again. And always acting like we're not best friends. Which, this is where that Bakugo is yelling, saying, we're not best. And this is where Ida, you could say Toriko or Idon, or, yeah, Idon, if I got the name right. Wrong. If you can crucify me in the comments. Pretty much saying, can you not like be loud and trying to pronounce rules, which this is where Deku and Bakugo gives him the death stare. He's not afraid of Bakugo's death stare, but Deku's death stare is, you could say, quite twisted. Like he sees in his soul and he can easily rip or like torture him for all eternity. and gives him the worst hell of his life. And he pretty much says nothing, and he pretty much walks away, having a cold sweat, shaking. You know that feeling of death on your back, guys, when you just feel that cold shimmer and fear that it's all over the moment if you make a misstep or a mistake. That's what he felt. Now, Bakugo and Deku sits together and they have a somewhat conversation because Bakugo doesn't want to make it awkward and Deku definitely just wants to talk with his best friend. And they're pretty much talking and stuff and having a conversation. This is where, they start doing the test and Deku passes the first test, the IQ exam, I believe so. And his IQ is very high, so he's pretty much the smartest there. Smarter than the human race, you could say. Now, next step of the weights and stuff, he pretty much passed that with ease. He lifted like 1,000 pounds, and all the girls are impressed and asking who is he and stuff. Everybody wants to know him. Now, the next part, the robots. This is going to be quite different, you could say. Now, Bakugo makes a bet with Deku, saying, if you can get first place, then I will pay you 100. But if I get in first place, then you have to pay me 100. And Deku laughs and says, how about 1 million? Bet on it? And Bakugo says, yeah, sure, if he can afford it. Which, this is where they pretty much make the bet. Now, Deku already in his head is saying, well, I'm just going to lose on purpose, get in second place on purpose so I can, give Bakugo money. Because I kind of feel bad sleeping with his mother and getting her pregnant. Now, this is where the guy explains the robot, and he's pretty much saying, all right, mark, get set, go, and they start going. Everybody start going. So, now, Deku is pretty much smashing robots and stuff, and pretty much, just doing the only couple robots and saying, yeah, I think I got in second place. I think I got in, like, third or something. Oh, well. Now, this is where Deku's about to go until the big, 0 point road comes in and start attacking people and stuff. And, well, you could say, yeah. And then everybody start running, peeing their pants and stuff. And this is where Deku sees Uraraka stuck and asks for help. Deku says, huh, and runs in and pretty much gets the robot off her. And before the robot step on him, Deku pretty much says, fall. And pretty much use gravity to crush the robot down to the ground. And pretty much make it go. And it's pretty much just crushed into a flat pancake, you could say. And Uraraka says, what did you just do? And Deku just says, don't worry about it. I just made it flat, but are you okay? And she's pretty much saying, no, I think my leg is broken and my arm is broken. Which Deku pretty much says, stand still and kisses her forehead, which she flares up and says, why did you do that for? And he says, well, I healed you. You're all good. Which we're going to say one of the holy church members is, another spy is spying on him and saying, why did he heal her? He could have just did, like, something else. Like, why is he being good? Which Deku is saying, well, I don't know why they're watching me. I'm not even going to try to destroy the world. Which, he's saying that in his head. But, he pretty much heals her and says, well, I'll be going now. She says bye. And alright, back to the video, my bad. But pretty much he says he be going off and heads home. Now, Deku is pretty much walking home and thinking, this is where you could say, one of his members or new recruits is a female. And her name is pretty much Jane. Actually, not Jane, but Joy, due to her laughter and craziness. But she and her excitement all the time, which Deku always enjoys and just laughs. And she pretty much comes in and says, sir, And he says, "How many times do I have to tell you?" And she said, "Oh right, yes, Muzuka, pretty much we've been watching over the church, and they're pretty much thinking of the next plan to pretty much trying to put out all assault to your house and try to kill you and your mother and make sure y'all don't exist and be erased." Which Deku says, "Well, that's not gonna happen. I trust that y'all can handle it." Which this is where uh Jane comes in and pretty much is trying to warn Deku about the whole assault and what's gonna happen because she knows this is not right and why the church is doing this. And she's about to say, Deku, the church is trying to attack you. I'm trying to warn you, right?" And this is what he says, "Oh, all right." And he's about to explain that he already got the information. This is where Joey comes in and says, "Wait, you're one of them, you nun." And Joey's pretty much calling her like a whore and stuff, because pretty much Joy has the ability to tell lust and what they fantasize and stuff, and she can sense like what's really in her, what's really dark about her and stuff, and what kinky stuff she likes. And she pretty much spurts out and says, "I can read what you're thinking about, and I know you're worried about, but I know you're worried about him, but also you're thinking about him doing the most kinkiest stuff to you right now." And she started blushing, saying, "No, I'm not." And which this is where Joy says, "You're thinking about getting tied up and getting a little bit of spanking on your ass." Which this is where she says, "It's not true." And she pretty much pulls out her knife, or you could say holy dagger, and charge at her, saying, "It's not true." Which Joy pretty much just smacks the knife out of her hand and pretty much smacks her in the face and says, "Really? You're lying right in front of him, and you're not telling the truth?" Which Deku pretty much gives a smirk and laughs a little and saying, "Yeah, you kind of had that going for lying like that." And she says, "What are you?" And Deku says, "Well, I know I'm a devil, but I'm not, you know, that dangerous." And he pretty much tells Joy to let her go, which she says, "Okay." He pretty much pushes her on the ground and says, "I'll be back at home, okay?" Which Deku says, "Okay." Now, Deku pretty much picks up the nun, Jane, and says, "It's okay," and heals her. And she says, "Thank you." And she says, "Why are you so kind and stuff?" He says, "Well, I'm not kind, but I'm also not evil. You could say I'm a little bit of both, but I'm not going to destroy the world. I kind of want to rule it." And she says, "What? You want to?" "Yeah, I want to rule the earth. I want to rule heaven and hell, and I want to bring true peace to the world. No destruction, no making anyone slaves. I just want to make the earth peaceful and true one of everything." Which, you know, she's pretty much contemplating and thinking about it, and she says, "But this is where Deku pretty much kisses her." And she pretty much is, flaring up and saying, "But I'm not," and he says, "Don't lie to me." And pretty much they have their moment, and you could say later more of that kinky stuff actually happened. Now, Deku is pretty much at the hotel, getting up, and the nun girl, you could say Joy is not Joy, but Jane is pretty much sleeping, and he pretty much uh put the covers on her, or you could say, tuck her in and pretty much kisses her on the forehead and goes home. Now he's at home, and this is where Deku, you know, smell. You could say a couple of smell bodies, and this is where he sees. You could say a bloodbath. Now, this is not of the legions. No, this is of the church people, all slaughtered. And Deku looks down and he sees a lot of blood, and he's like saying, "Oh boy, this was a bloodbath." This is where not Jane, but Alex comes in and kisses Deku on the lips and says, "Oh, baby, you're back. Like they tried to came and try to slaughter us and murder your mom, but we managed to hold them off. And we also got a prisoner." Which Deku says, "Huh? Okay. And pretty much she explains that one of them got injured, and this is pretty much Kane. Pretty much was injured, and he's pretty much wearing his mask, saying, "It's all right, sir, I'm fine." Which Deku says, "Come on, take off the mask. Let me see." And he's pretty much badly hurt, and Deku pretty much puts his hand on his forehead and pretty much heals him and says, "Now you feel better?" He says, "Yeah, thanks." This is where Deku says, "Well, show me the prisoner," and it's one of the church members, and he's pretty much knocked out. This is where Deku gives him a little bit of a smack, on the face, and says, "Hey, wake up!" And he's waking up saying, "What? Oh, it's just the devil." Which Deku is laughing his ass off, saying, "Wow." Saying from a church person, saying that a preacher who's trying to murder my family, and also saying it's for the greater good, talking, saying I'm the devil. This guy here, which everybody laughs, except for Inko, because Inko is kind of like at a safer location. Well, kind of like upstairs cooking. Now, at the basement, Deku is pretty much bringing out the torture tools, and he's pretty much saying, "All right, well, you got two options. You got to tell me what you know, and are you going to stop? Like, tell me what you know and who's your leader, or I can torture you and do the worst to you that you can ever imagine." Which the preacher says he can go to hell. This is where Deku pulls out apply tools and pretty much clips off his finger one by one. But he hasn't blindfolded. I'm gonna say this is kind of like the Key scene from Tokyo Ghoul, and he's pretty much telling him, "Well, you're gonna have to count to 10 backwards," and he's pretty much like screaming and cutting off his finger, and he's pretty much like counting and crying. And as Deku cuts off his fingers and his like feet one by one, like the preacher is pretty much just talking riddles, screaming at the same time, and Deku like sound off the room. So like down in the basement, you can't hear no one scream or ask for mercy or anything. So Inko doesn't know what the hell's going on, and he's pretty much cutting off all his fingers and like thumbs and stuff, and he retells them over and over again. He keeps doing it. He says, "Are you gonna tell me?" And he's pretty much, the preacher's pretty much crying and peeing himself, and he's pretty much telling him the whole beans and everything. He says, "Is that all, or do you want me to cut off your nails again and rip off your nails now?" Which he says, "No, no, 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 please, please, no." And he says, "Are you gonna repent now?" And he says, "I repent, I repent." Deku pretty much says, "Alright, well, I think I'm not gonna kill you. I think I'm gonna invite you for dinner." And he pretty much lets go the preacher and says, "I think you're gonna be the preacher to preach about me and what I can do and stuff." And the preacher's pretty much, his hair, and I'm gonna say his hair is black, not white. We're not gonna make him the Kaneki or Tokyo Ghoul. No, his hair was like green. We're gonna say red, like red, but his hair turned pure black, and his nails turned pure black. Now he pretty much gets up and says, "I like that. I'm really hungry." Which Deku pretty much, says, "All right, let's go eat." Now the preacher goes sits and starts to eat, but he starts shaking, which Deku taps his forehead and says, and pretty much, you know, get him to not shake so his mom doesn't ask him anything of what's wrong with him. And he pretty much, goes to the preacher head and says, "Listen, do not tell my mother what I did to you, because you know what you did. You'd be glad I didn't kill you. Now this will be your second life now. You work for me now. You belong to me." Which the preacher is, saying, "Understood, understood. Thank you for this blessing." Now they have the meal, and pretty much the next day, Deku gets the acceptance letter, and it says he pretty much got in second place. Which Deku says, "All right," and pretty much brings out the suitcase with the $1 million. And he's pretty much saying, well, time to give it to Bakugo. Pretty much smiling. And Bakugo's pretty much laughing, saying, hey, Mizuku, I got, I got, I got in first. You gonna give me that 1 million? Which Deku pretty much, is already at his house saying, yeah, I got your 1 million right here. Which he gives to Bakugo. He says, whoa, dude, I was just joking. You don't have to. He says, nope, it was a bet. And plus, I wanted to do it anyways. Which, Bakugo's saying, well, thanks a lot, sucker. Which Deku laughs and says, don't spend it on too much. Now, Bakugo and Deku pretty much walks to school together. You could say walk to school together, and Deku says he's gonna have to use the bathroom, and Bakugo says class. Now, Deku pretty much heads into class, and he sees that Bakugo and Toroki or Tora, and Idan, if I'm correct, pretty much is yelling at Bakugo saying, take his feet off the desk. He's disrespecting the school, which Bakugo says, hop off my dick, and all that. This is where Deku is pretty much laughing and saying, how about y'all guys, both not, stop yelling because the teacher is right behind that desk sleeping on the ground. Which, the Bakugo and, is pretty much, or Toroki? Or Toroki? Or Idon. If y'all gonna have to tell me the name, but pretty much, you know what I'm talking about, the guy with the glasses. But pretty much, they pretty much saying, stop bullshitting, he's not behind there, which Deku says, alright, if you don't believe me, come on. Which, they check over there and let him know he's over there sleeping, which they say, that's the teacher? And they say, which, Deku's saying, yeah, that's Razorhead. And which, Bakugo says, how you know that's the superhero Razorhead? He says, well, I do my research, and plus, you remember those notebooks all the time I'd be writing and drawing and stuff? Yeah, I'd be drawing about heroes and stuff, and also their identities and stuff, so yeah, I know that guy is Razorhead. Which Bakugo says, okay, well, let's go and all sit and relax, and just quietly talk, which they all do, and Bakugo, puts his feet down, they start having a conversation and stuff, and getting to know each other. Now, this is where everybody else comes in, and Bakugo's tell everybody to shut the hell up. The teacher's over here sleeping. But let's all introduce ourselves and talk and stuff. Which, more students come, and they start introducing themselves, but also talking quality. This is where Razorhead gets up and says, alright, is everybody here? And he says, this class might be different after all than the other class, the other students that last came here. Now, he's pretty much telling them to get ready, and they head outside to test out their quirks and stuff. But this is where, you guessed it, Toroki or Inda Toro, if I'm correct, pretty much is saying, well, we have to do that. We're supposed to be at the assembly, which he says he pretty much does the whole talk about, I failed the class before because they wasn't really which everybody's, freaking out, except for Deku and Bakugo. They're pretty much, confident and cocky. It's definitely, Deku. He has, pride and, I said, all the sins, powers and stuff. And also their personality. Now, he's pretty much, they're pretty much all getting dressed. And when they look at, Deku's body, they see that he has pretty much, you could say, a tattoo that is pretty much of a opposite cross on the back. And they say, nice opposite cross on your back. What are you, a sinner or something? And Deku says, no, I don't remember having that tattoo, but, I don't know. But I know I ain't no sinner, I don't think. Which they all, start laughing at. Which, we're gonna say, except for the one with glasses, he, except for the one with glasses, and Bucko, he kind of laughs, but they pretty much sees that Deku is ripped and stuff, saying, wow, do you work out and stuff? And He says, yeah, I'd be lifting 1,000 weights and stuff, and sometimes up to 1 million just to get a good workout. Which they drop their jaw and saying, "Wow, impressive." Which he says, "Yeah, I don't think." I pretty much walks out first. Now, uh, we're gonna switch to the girls a few. Now, Deku has this kind of aura that girls wants to know about him and stuff, and like he's very attracted to, like to girls. He's very attractive. Like if he is not doing anything, he's very attractive, and they just want to know him and stuff. Now, the girls are talking about him and saying like they want to meet Deku and stuff, want to get to know him, and Iko Uraraka, like she's kind of phased out. Like keeps rethinking of the kiss on the forehead, and they're saying, "Uraraka, are you right?" And she's pretty much saying, "Yeah, yeah, I want to meet him too, and want to get to know him better." So, whew, sorry, I just really gotta get this going, but pretty much, phew, Deku and everybody else and stuff is out, and everything goes the same, but Deku just reaches first and everything except for the ball throw. Actually, no, for the ball throw, he got it first too because he pretty much put the ball in another, well, outside of space, so it's kind of infinite. Now, Razorhead was trying to cancel Deku's quirk. This is where Deku, gives, well, pretty much walks up to Razorhead and pretty much says, "I know you was trying to cut off my quirk, but it's not gonna work." It's really funny how he was trying to do that, but maybe next time you try to figure out some way. He said, "What? How does he know that?" Now this is where everybody's passes. No one gets cut off or anything. So everybody's in the same class. Now Deku starts to head home and starts walking, and we're gonna say the crazy girl from the I forgot her name, but you know who I'm talking about. The girl who likes blood and stuff and likes to know people better by the blood and stuff. She comes in and try to pretty much attack Deku. Now Deku pretty much like turns around and he does a smile. And the next minute later she wakes up pretty much on the bed tied up. And Deku says, "Well, I wanna get well, I'm gonna ask who do you work for or I'm gonna torture you." And she says, "There's nothing you can do to torture me," which he pulls out a feather and starts tickling her. Which she starts laughing, saying, "Please stop, I'm gonna pee myself," which he says, "Well, you're gonna tell me?" Which she's buying time and she basically, you know, start cutting the rope while Deku turned around and she started attacking him. And we're gonna say one led to another and they pretty much in the bed together. Now, she's pretty much laying there, uh laying on Deku, pretty much saying, "Wow." And Deku's saying, "Yeah, I'm good at this." Which uh she pretty much explains that she pretty much works for the League of Villains and she's one of the powerful ones and stuff. And she started, talking about All for One and stuff and saying she he's training us and stuff, and he says, "Oh, so he's still alive?" Which she says, "Yeah, how do you know about the accident?" And he says, I just know a lot." And he says, "Well, I gotta go home. I'll call you later." And she says, "Yeah." Pretty much giving that creepy ass young Derry similar smile. Now, this is going to be part two of What If Deku Was the Devil. Uh, Leave a comment. Tell me what you like about it, what you didn't like about it. Also, 20 likes if you want a video in sometime later, and 30 likes if you want the next part to come out the next day. But I'm Keyshawn Ochia. Thanks for watching, and peace out, my guys.